Now, let's move on to the NFC side, brother. I lost your attention because they were saying something about Peyton Manning was flashing on my screen about his continued play. Like they said, he's going to have an examination in March to determine.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. They're saying this exam, whether he goes to the Super Bowl, doesn't go to the Super Bowl, wins the Super Bowl, doesn't win the Super Bowl, he has an exam, a physical examination in March, and then that's going to decide his playing future. And okay, good for him. I'm going to tell you what, next surgery too, I'd have tapped out.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Now, obviously, we were talking about earlier, moving on to the NFC side, we had obviously Saints going to Seattle. We had the 49ers going to Carolina. We'll start with the Saints going to Seattle. That game was yesterday.
The Saints, look, the way that game started, and I'm going to say this because I wanted to text it to you. Percy Harvin is softer than baby shit, and he should seriously consider
baby shit.
Any baby shit. He should literally stop playing football. That kid is going to get seriously injured, and he is jeopardizing his future down the road. What he doesn't understand, at the age of 35, he might not know who he is. Like, he gets hurt getting out of bed, and he got crushed on 3 different occasions. The Saints came out headhunting on that first possession, and I was like, this is going to be a rock'em sock'em robot game. And he might need to stop playing football for his own future.
That game was a perfect example of the ball just literally not bouncing the Saints' way. I mean, like, they came out with the right game plan, hitting hard, being physical, playing physical football, and then all of a sudden, shit just started not going their way. And I tell you what, in my opinion, and it might only be my opinion, but I think if the Saints played the same type of football in the first half as they played the second half, they'd be going to the NFC Championship. Because the Seahawks defense is shut down. It's crazy, but their defense started to get worn down once Breeze, got in the sink and everything. And it's very funny. Terry Bradshaw, if you were watching the telecast, Terry Bradshaw made a very, very good statement. Everybody kind of looked at him cockeyed when he said it. He says, we're creatures of habit, And he said, if you notice, Drew Brees always licks his fingers. It's like a little habit he has. Like, some people stick out their tongue. Some people have these nerves. He always licks his fingers. Where he had his gloves on, and because he had his gloves on in the first half, he couldn't lick his fingers. And he said, it's throwing him off. He kept saying it's throwing him off. And everybody's like, oh, what? And he's like, I'm telling you, that's throwing him off because he's used to doing that little routine, licking his fingers, doing shit. And now he can't do that with his gloves making takes his gloves off, he's going to be better, which he did in the second half. And you know what? He was on point. He was making perfect throws.
I thought he changed gloves in the second half. Did he?
Maybe he did change gloves. Maybe he did.
I think he did. But yeah, and you know what? You're 100% correct. And unfortunately, they lost. I would have liked to see him win because it would have been an upset. But again, Seattle did not play a complete game. They get very stagnant and stale on offense. Like, if you take away Marshawn Lynch, and look, I'm not knocking Russell Wilson. He's done an excellent job. He moves well in the pocket. He makes progressions, and he makes decent throws, but I'm just not, would I want him as an Eagles quarterback right now as a second year? Yes, I'm not saying that. But if you gave me the choice between Russell Wilson and Drew Brees, I'm going with Drew Brees.
Right. Yeah. No, I agree with you. Because he just makes bigger plays still.
Yeah, and they just, like I said, they got a little stagnant on offense. They kind of came to a standstill, but Doug Baldwin came up with a big play. Russell Wilson kept things alive with his feet.
Right.
And they're matched up at home against the 49ers, who they've already mollywopped once this season when San Fran came calling. And go ahead.
Well, it's just funny, man. I mean, they split the series this year, but it's so funny. It seems like the 49ers, the last 2 times they've gone into Seattle and played them, I think they've lost by a combined like 50-plus points.
Yeah, I mean, they get hammered.
But, and there's a big but, I mean, we saw what Carolina what the 49ers did in Carolina, and I'm going to tell you what, man. I mean, if that defense continues to play like they played today, I just have to think that Carolina's offense is more productive than Seattle's, and at least at this time in the season. And
I agree with you, 100. I will agree with you that the 49ers offense can be more productive than Seattle, but it all comes down to, I think if they're playing from behind and Kaepernick has 7 turnovers in Seattle and he continues that trend, I don't care how good their defense is playing. If they spend that much time on the field, they're going to get tired and Seattle's going to score.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you what a lot of it's going to come down to, believe it or not. It is really going to come down to their defenses are very close. I think where Seattle's stronger in the secondary, the 49ers are stronger in the linebacker position and on the line, But it will come down to this, I think, who can run the ball better, because Kaepernick trying to pass, if he passes like he passed this weekend, he'll throw picks against Seattle's defensive backs. They're the best in the league.
I think you're being real nice when you say a pick.
I said throw picks, plural.
Oh, okay. I missed the S, because I'm going to tell you right now, that Bama was throwing high, low, inside, outside. He throws the ball more like a center fielder would, and it's just he was all over the map, and I'm assuming it's because he was pressing. But I just, and I can understand. I mean, I'm sure it's a high pressure, high tension situation, but he's got to dial it back a notch. He's got to get some touch and learn how to ease up on some of these passes and float them in there, or just take a little bit of steam off those things.
But there was, and yours, like you said, I mean, there were some that were just way in front of the guy and low. I mean, they were all over the place today. They just his passes looked bad.
And I'm gonna tell you, to cut you off, to give up a 6th-round pick for Anquan Bolden, shit, I'd give up a 3rd-round pick for the way Anquan Bolden's playing since he's come to San Francisco. Man.
I'm going to tell you what, because he's the one catching those fucking balls. And you saw that fucking catch by Michael Crabtree. That shit, he took it from the heavens. I mean, that kid, I mean, now, if they can perform like that, then Seattle's going to have some trouble. Now, in contrast, Seattle has struggled in their passing game all the time. Having Percy Harvin back was going to help open that up, but obviously, like you said, he's softer than baby shit. But the other problem is, as much as everybody wants to say Russell Wilson, and he is a smart quarterback, he is a great quarterback, I think he's the best of that class right now. I mean, well, I don't know if he's the best, but he's been taking his team the farthest. And, but as much as they like to say he stays in the pocket, that's one of the problems. Like, he still gets out of that pocket. You know what I mean? And the perfect example of it is if you watch the Saints game the other day, Breeze stays in that pocket till the last second and looks at every one of his fucking options. And then when it doesn't happen and the pocket collapses, he took off. And it's a rare thing that you see Drew Brees do. He took off and he scrambled. Everybody's like, oh shit, you forget about Drew Brees' athletic ability, because he doesn't need to show it off much because he's hitting his options down the field. Russell Wilson's athletic ability is constantly being shown because he takes off out of the pocket. And that's why his receivers don't have time to get open or complete their patterns, because, the shit's collapsing. And he's like, oh shit, in time, he'll be a better quarterback and he'll hit his options and his passing game will, better. But right now, to going into next weekend, I don't think it's there. I don't think it'll be there miraculously. I don't think it's going to change that much in a week. That could be a problem for Seattle.
Did you see the defensive end for the Saints named Cam Jordan?
The what now? The defensive end?
Did you watch the defensive end, Cam Jordan, for the Saints? As big as that dude was, he was able to close the distance on Russell Wilson a couple times. And to me, that right there, I was texting Andy, and I was like, that right there is the reason Johnny Manziel is going to die. Because he's going to die, because every team in the NFL has guys who are that big and that fast. Not every team in the SEC that he played week in and week out have guys that are that big and that fast. And I was just like, that was really impressive. To watch a guy as big as Cam Jordan close the distance on Russell Wilson that quick, time and time and time again. He was in Russell Wilson's back pocket that whole game.
He was, and things always. What's happening on the offensive side of the ball affects what happens on the defensive side of the ball, and vice versa. And I think with one of the earlier meetings with the 49ers, they got blown out because they had no offensive weapons. I mean, every one of the receivers were out. Michael Crabtree wasn't around, and Anquan Bolden wasn't playing. Vernon Davis
he will have his full accoutrement of weapons, so there will be no excuses if they lose this game. The only excuse he could possibly have is it's a road game. He'll have his running back, he'll have his tight end, he'll have receiver 1, 2, and whoever their third one is. I think they're all fully healthy.
And I think the thing that, George, that will help him is that it will keep the 49ers from going 3 and outs. They might not score, but they'll be, the one game they were 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. So the defense, the 49ers defense was on the field constantly getting tired. Now, if you got a fresh Patrick Willis and a fresh Navarro Bowman chasing your ass, it could be hard for Russell Wilson,
If I'm the 49ers, I want to run the ball, and try to suck Earl Thomas up and up and up and up. I want him as close to the line of scrimmage as possible because that tells me I'm going to have one safety and probably man coverage on the outside. If you got man coverage on the outside, that means who's covering Vernon Davis. I'm gonna move Vernon Davis out to the slot, and now we're gonna if you're gonna put a linebacker on Vernon Davis, it's gonna be a long day.
Yeah, well, they better have a game plan because as much as we're saying these things about what the 49ers can and might be able to do when they go to Seattle next weekend, the bottom line is that 12th man in Seattle is phenomenal. Yeah, it's crazy. It's loud as shit. No one goes in there and does shit. Arizona did go in there. A division opponent did go in there and beat them, at the end of the year. And yeah, could the 49ers do it? Yeah, but it disrupts the shit out of people. You know what I mean? And when you look at how it disrupted Drew Brees in the first half, and he is probably, right there with Manning and Brady is pretty poised and not getting disrupted by a crowd, what is it going to do to a young-ass Kaepernick that already has problems, getting the ball in the right place?
Well, with that said, I'm going with Seattle for the win. It's going to be a Seattle-New England Super Bowl.
Yeah. Wasn't it a Seattle-New England Super Bowl, or was it the last time Seattle went to the Super Bowl? Who was it?
Yeah, I think so. Seattle beat the damn Eagles to get in there.
Or something like that. Seattle. I'm going to go with the 49ers, man. I don't know who's favored in this, but I think the 49ers are going to go in there and get it done, man. I think Harbaugh's going to have a good game plan, and I think playing on the road, they're just pumped the fuck up. They played on the road twice, done what they've had to do, had to deal with all the shit, so it's not going to be as much of a contrast going to Seattle. And I think they're going to get to Russell Wilson this time. I think they're going to beat him.
Before we end this show, because that's where we're getting to, I told Jesse tonight I root for two teams, the Eagles and whoever are playing the Chargers. Dude, I was so happy to watch that little spoiled punk-ass bolo tie wearing brat throw temper tantrums and cry for timeouts. Oh, you big baby. I cannot stand that dude. And I'm so glad he's going to be home watching the Super Bowl just like me.
Watching that shit on his recliner looking like Cousin Eddie from fucking the National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
I can't stand that donkey.
So anyway, man, we're gonna wrap it the fuck up. I'm gonna get out of here. George, it's been real like always, bro.
Peace and chicken grease.
Peace and chicken grease. Adios deuces, people. Later.